so I have been guided to do some yoga before I go to sleep, and I want to offer you some of my practice. And what I'm getting called to do is some of my signature work, which appears to be, I guess it appears simple. However, when doing this properly, it is simple, yet it's intense. I think that's the best way to describe my work, is that it is simple movements, yet to stay, excuse me, to stay in the pose properly and utilizing our breath, and not just simply a breath that we're used to, but a breath that gives us the most amount of oxygen that we are capable of handling, and then taking that oxygen, filling our being as fully as we can, and then smoothing it out. So oftentimes when we take a full breath, our breath becomes staggering. And so our job in any yoga practice and any yoga pose is to expand our breath to the fullest amount possible, and then find peace and smoothness within that breath while being in that pose. So this evening, as I said, I'm going to do my signature pose, and it's my favorite. I've had a lot of hip issues in my life and leg issues in my life, and I've had to do a lot of rebuilding of my structure from my foundation. And so in doing so, I've developed a very specific movement that has helped me a lot. I know for myself, there are days that I wake up and stiff and achy, and there have been days I just didn't even think I could walk. And this one pose is what has gotten me out of limitations. Honestly, it's gotten me out of excruciating pain. However, you must be in it long enough to free yourself of the pain. And so, forgive me, you don't realize that it's late at night. I tend to be a night owl, and I really need to get on my mat so that I can let go of the fascia that is stuck in my body. The fascia is the connective tissue, and so I can feel that fascia locking and binding, and it is so easy to accept it and adapt to it and just pretend like it doesn't exist, or pretend that there's not a struggle happening internally within my body. It's just so easy to go, oh, I'm just going to go to bed. But I keep getting guided over and over again to offer this. So that is what I will do. So as I said, our job here is to get the fullest and most expansive breath that we are capable of breathing, and in doing so, we're going to dance the edge of our discomfort and pain. I'll talk you through, and then I'm sure there's going to be a large portion of what I do that I don't actually speak. I'll just be breathing into the discomfort and giving my bones the opportunity to find lengthening inside of the connective tissue. So what does that mean? Most people who do yoga use their muscles to move their bones. They use their muscles to hold their pose. And in fact, that's not really how it works. Your bones are the strongest part of your body. Accessing your bones in any given pose and commanding your muscles to lengthen and strengthen around the bones is what you're really looking to do. So that's going to take a bit. That takes a little bit of practice and learning how to actually feel what that feels like inside of your body. Takes practice. But once you achieve that, once you realize that you are in control of your bones, which is the deepest aspects of ourselves, right? The most central piece that you can ever get, the most deepest central piece of self is the actual marrow of your bones, the center of the bones. And so the body code method to which I teach people is accessing the bones themselves and working on heating up the marrow of the bones in order to achieve a melting process of the fascia, which is often why we have pain and discomfort in the body. So here we go. We're going to start our practice today by laying on our backs. Most likely we're not going to do too many things, possibly just one or two poses, and really that's all you need. So what I will do is take a sip of my ginger tea, and I'm going to lay on my back and find a comfortable position. So first and foremost, so as I said, it's late at night, and my body is ready to rest, but I don't want to go to bed carrying all of this dense energy that my body is carrying right now. I did a lot of yard work today and did a lot of other things as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find first and foremost, I'm going to lengthen my legs from my pelvis. And a good way to do that is to lengthen each leg individually. Most people, when they say lengthen their legs, they lengthen their legs away, and they think they've gained access. But I challenge you, let one leg be heavy, take the other leg, push through the heel of that leg, and notice how my whole hip will dip. And I get a little bit of a lower back stretch, and then, squeeze your shoulder blades down your back. So it's like I call it posturing up. So squaring off the shoulders and posturing up. Notice that my chin is down versus my whole head and neck tilted up. So the chin is down. Now I'm going to let this leg be heavy. I don't know if you can see from there, but one hip here is going to be longer right now. It's lower to the ground than the other hip. So now I'm going to take my other leg and I'm going to lengthen that one through.
Ooh. And I'm just gonna notice how tense that feels, and work on lengthening my legs away. Now I actually feel a little bit longer, right? Take one leg, draw it in. Grab the shin of your leg. And just for now, pull that leg in and up and start to feel tension. I refer to it as like an elastic band wrapping around your thighs or your hips. So I'm gonna grab this leg. So I have my right leg in hand, and I don't know if you can see it. Here, I'm actually gonna change that, and I apologize, only for camera's sake. So you can see right from the beginning, and so we don't have to question when we step into the second round. So I'm gonna keep my right leg long, and I'm gonna draw my left leg in. I'm gonna grab my left shin. Notice that I'm gonna keep this shoulder down on the ground. I don't wish to force and lift my body. I'm looking to release tension, not add tension. So bringing my left leg in, draw it in and up, and I already start to feel some binding on the other side. I'm gonna bring this leg in to a place of discomfort. Now notice my elbow was out. I'm gonna drop it down. I'm gonna let that elbow be heavy. I don't need to work. I don't need to overwork here. So leg is in. I'm gonna take this other leg, and I should have moved my teacup a little bit here, but I'll kick it over to the side. I'm gonna take this right leg, and I'm gonna drop it out to the side. I'm gonna push through the heel of that leg, and I wanna keep this hip down. Now, it's really easy for me to move and lift this leg off the ground. I don't wanna do that. I wanna anchor this hip down. So I'm gonna anchor this hip down. I'm gonna actively draw it down to the earth. I'm gonna push through the heel of my long leg and work on getting my hamstring to the ground. It may never touch the ground. It's not important that it touches. What's important is that I'm actively drawing that leg down to the ground. Excuse me. And so now I'm gonna take this other leg and I'm gonna draw it in. And so I can feel, notice again, the elbow is down, it's nice and heavy. I can feel tension wrapped around my hip sockets. I'm gonna keep my arms, work on let my bones be heavy. Working on getting the most fullest, expansive breath as I can get. And now as I'm doing this, it feels like it's cramping. It feels like there's a cramp around my hip socket. And in fact, that's good. If you feel cramping while you're in this pose, lean into the cramp. It is the opposite of what your brain would tell you to. You normally think, ooh, I'm cramping, run from it. Wrong. That is not how the body and structure works. In fact, that cramping is your fascia dragging across muscles and bones. You want that, that's a good thing. That fascia, when it is stuck, adheres to the muscles and bones and causes pain and tension. And so right now we're gonna lean into it. I am actively lengthening that leg away and drawing the hip down. I can actually get this leg higher. I'm gonna come underneath it. I'm gonna open up this leg here. Maybe play around with the foot a little bit. Maybe even draw this leg out a little bit wider to the right. Oh my goodness, that's tension. And I'm just gonna keep actively pushing through my right leg. Keep that hip down. Keep this shoulder down. And allow my connective tissue to drag across the muscles, softening. The longer I hold this pose, everything starts to soften. And the more I do that, that's my boo, the more I do that, the more I am capable of getting more length out of this leg. So now I'm actually going to go even further. I'm going to grab the bottom of my foot. I'm going to come here. Ooh, that's about as far as I get to go right now. And again, this leg now wants to lift off the ground. Don't let it. Draw it down. Keep squeezing this hip down. I've now deepened the cramp in the hip area again. It is surrounding my femur bone. Oh my goodness, I can feel this cramping sensation all around my hamstrings and my femur bone. Oh, all this tension, oh my goodness, that has just stuck, just held on throughout the day for whatever reason. And I don't need to carry that to sleep with me. If I carry that to sleep with me, it might only get worse. Oh my goodness, woo, child. Oh, just feel it, ooh, just literally it went all the way from my leg, up through my ribs and out my neck. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but that's exactly what just happened on that side. And now I've gotten even further with this leg. Notice I was here, and now I can stretch it to here while keeping this leg down. Just layers, 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 layers. And hanging out. I'm going to do it a few more breaths. I can feel tension unraveling in my ribs. Ooh. Oh. Out the shoulders and fingers. And I think that's good enough for now. Ooh. I am sleepy, like I said, it's late. It's a late night. So I'm going to bring this leg in slowly. Notice I bent this knee. I didn't try to draw the leg in while the leg was extended. I shortened the lever of my leg. I bring this leg into center. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my opposite hand, place it on my shin. I'm going to take my opposite shoulder and anchor it down to the ground. So I'm going to cross my left leg over to the right side of my body. And in order to do that, I'm going to gently squeeze my inner thighs together, and I'm going to keep anchoring my left shoulder down. So my left leg goes to the right, and I anchor the left shoulder. Lengthen, lengthen. And not only am I drawing this leg across to me, ooh, I am actively reaching my sits bones back. I am actively engaging my back body and reaching my sits bones back. So right there, that's a good spot for me. Could I visually drop this leg all the way to the ground? Yes, I could. I could absolutely get this leg all the way to the ground. However, I might lift my shoulder off the ground, and I might miss this little nugget of, oh my goodness, inner thigh resistance that my body is experiencing. And so I'm going to hang out in it. I'm going to hang out in the inner thigh resistance because now it is wrapping around my hip. It's all the way up my inner thigh, around my hip. Oh. And again, I'm going to hang out there. It's now melting through my lower back. Oh my goodness. Trying to soften everything else around it. Oh my goodness, and now we got a little bit further. Keep anchoring that left shoulder, drawing that leg across. There it is. That's the length that I can be at now. I am actively engaging my back body. I'm not just collapsing my bones here. I am actively stacking my bones. That's the difference. It's easy to collapse bones and force the muscles to take over versus stack your bones and have the muscles melt and let go. 2 more big breaths here. Oh my goodness. And now I'm going to come all the way back to center. I'm going to take a moment and engage my inner thighs. Draw this leg back into center. I'm going to slowly lengthen my leg down the mat, and when I do, there's this amazing rush of blood flow and oxygen that gets released from the artery that's on the inside part of the thigh. And so as I lengthen this leg down, I'm going to let that blood flow and oxygen roll right up my body. And so I'm going to gently walk my legs back in. And I don't know if you can notice, I don't know if you can tell from the distance of where this camera is right now that my left hip is lower to the ground. It's more anchored. In fact, it feels like my legs are different lengths. And I can tell my left leg is longer than my right leg right now. And it's funny because as I was releasing that pose, I realized how much I enjoy teaching large classrooms. Having a moment of gratitude for having experienced teaching so many people in such a larger scale. I think the beauty of that is that I had always had gratitude for the experience, so it's not something that I only am having gratitude for now. I knew how special it was in the moment of the experience. I'm just having I don't even understand that I miss it. It's the, it's the hope of being able to have that experience once again. So, thank you for letting me share that. Now, I'm gonna grab my other leg over here, but same thing. Right leg this time comes in. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your right hand onto that right shin. Excuse me. So the right hand goes on the right shin. My left hip stays down. I'm gonna really push that left hip down, and I'm gonna draw this right leg up. But I'm not gonna let this left hip, I could easily keep drawing this right leg over, and then this whole booty and hip comes right off the ground. So I wanna stay, I wanna keep my anchor where it is, and then lengthen away from my anchor. And as I lengthen away, I'm gonna push through the heel of that left foot. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling it. I'm gonna hang out in it. I am just gonna sit here and lengthen and hang out, as this cramping sensation goes around my bones. I'm even gonna take, oh my goodness, that left leg and inch it out to the side, and I can't even inch it that far right now without hitting a nerve. and some more deeper binding. Ooh, child. I encourage, breathe with your mouth open. In order to gain access to more breath, one must breathe a pattern they may not be used to, which is open your jaw, breathe through your mouth. Oh, I'm cramping in both hip sockets. This is beautiful. Ooh, child. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to expand this leg out even further. Notice I'm trying to keep my shoulders down. I do not want to keep lifting. I don't want to close off my clavicles. I want to flatten out my shoulder blades more and open this leg up. Keep anchoring this other leg down. Oh my goodness. Okay, see if I can get a little bit further. Wow. My bones are adjusting, my connective tissue is lengthening, it's cramping. Oh my goodness, it's coming all the way out my lower back and ribs. Whew. See if I can get a little bit further with this leg. That's about it. Oh my goodness. Maybe, yep, lengthened my left leg a little bit further, and I'm going to rotate it toes up. My toes were pointed to the ground. I just rotated them toes up and got a whole different angle, unlocking a whole different bind in the hips and thighs. Whew. Again, notice the shoulder wants to come up, so I want to squeeze it back down again. That's nice. Okay. Whew. Oh, that's good. All right. So I'm going to gently squeeze this inner thigh in. Left hand comes to right shin. So my little girl wants me to go to bed now. Yeah. And so I'm going to take my left hand, place it on my right shin, take my right shoulder, anchor it to the ground, not just the elbow. In fact, it's really shoulder blade. I call it posture up. Square off those shoulders, open up through the heart. Let the wrist be heavy, shoulder be heavy. And now I'm going to lengthen my sits bones away as I draw this leg across, and right now I'm already feeling the pressure in the inner thigh. I'm going to hang out here. I don't need to go far. I just need to meet the resistance where the resistance shows up. Right? So meet the resistance where it shows up. Don't go beyond it. It's so easy to make the pose appear pretty and avoid your shit. Or I like to say, avoid the good stuff, right? Don't avoid the good stuff. Meet that resistance where it is. Oh my goodness, because the good stuff is where we get to the other side of freedom. Oh, the good. And now this whole lengthening just happened in my lower back and my inner thighs. And now I just probably moved that leg 4 inches before I hit the next speed bump of resistance. And so this shoulder wants to come up, and I'm just going to anchor it back down again. lengthen and activate my sits bones back. Hopefully you can see this. So what I'm going to do is, notice right here, I'm going to not anchor my sits bones, I'm going to drop them. And I can pull this leg across, but if I reach that pelvis back, create a lower arch in my lower back here, oh, it deepens that stretch so much more. One small little conscious movement changes everything about the pose. Oh my goodness, and that was just a huge speed bump of resistance moved through. Oof. I'm going to give it a few more breaths here. Whoa. Huge chunk of stuff moving up my ribs, lower back, out my shoulders. Oof. My bones are just lengthening underneath the connective tissue. Oof. Crazy. Getting that leg to go a little bit further. Oh my goodness, this is tough. This is a good spot. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oof. And so I think that's all I'm gonna get from that side. Oh my, wow, it's all the way out my neck and jaw. And I'm gonna slowly, gently squeeze my inner thighs together so that my core activates. Bring my leg back to center. And once again, when this leg lengthens down, there's going to be a beautiful release of blood flow and oxygen that comes up this artery from your inner thighs. Allow the wave of energy to roll up the spine. You can feel this wave come up the body, so use your breath to mimic that wave, giving it permission to go right up the front of your head. So lengthening the leg down. Oh. Now I'm just going to move through my wrists and ankles. Our connective tissue runs every inch of our bodies. And each jointed area of the bones and of the body is meant to stack. And so when that fascia starts to lengthen, we can restack those bones. Keep exposing my belly. Get longer. I am absolutely ready for bed now. I am just going to simply do some side stretching. And there's no need to roll up. Could I simply, roll up and force my neck to do the work? Of course I could, but why would I when I could easily roll to my side, come to my side, and place one hand on the floor. Notice how I get up, that I tuck my chin, I keep my head heavy, and I pull in through my spine.
To roll up. That's it. That's it. So,
Hopefully you enjoy doing some of that. You find your own
binds within your body to soften and lengthen through. Use your breath and give yourself permission to experience the discomfort and breathe through it, and you will gain so much more access to your body.